Hey everybody, welcome back to Chasing the God Shot. My name is Bubba. Today we have Sergie. Sergie, thank you for being here today.
Totally, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming. So the first question I have is, what do you do in the coffee industry?
Yeah, so I co-own a roasting company called Mirror Coffee Roasters, and at the same time, I also manage a local cafe in town called Narrative Coffee. Yep, those are my primary. Basically two fully immersed coffee jobs, so I'm cranking out anything from 40 to 60 hours in coffee.
Oh, wow.
So it's a lot.
It's a lot of hats, I think, in the previous conversation you have on. So yeah, you guys are doing a lot over there.
For sure.
So a question in regards to God Shot is, what would your definition of a God Shot be? Curious about that.
That's I've been thinking about it ever since I heard of the concept of the God Shot. I've been thinking about those terms in themselves. Like, it's kind of strange to use that kind of metaphor, for a shot of espresso or coffee itself, like God. You know what I mean? It's kind of strange, but it's also intriguing. And for me, it's also kind of mystical in that sense. It has this out of this world kind of glorious concept. And those are kind of certain elements that I refer to when I say the God Shot. But it's also hard to comprehend or rationalize. We'll probably talk about my first experience or an experience with the God Shot, but it's it leaves you with this idea and thought of wait, is this really coffee? And to a degree, it makes you doubt anything else that you've had. It's weird that we use the term God when it actually makes you, when you have that a shot of espresso, it actually makes you a believer.
It's a religious experience in a way. It's kind of weird.
It is. Yeah, it's super weird. So that's kind of some of the main elements of how I would define a God Shot. The other things I remember, it makes you want and crave for more. Kind of leaves you in a place where you're okay, I've had this, nothing else matters before. Mm-hmm. And it's an experience that kind of leaves you hungry for good, and it's very personal too, because, we're talking about flavor here, and flavor is highly subjective. So it's all of those elements, being kind of strange and out there, but also very personal.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody else about it. I was able to travel the world a little bit and experience different coffee cultures. And in Italy, what they feel like a God Shot could potentially be is way different from what we feel over here. Yeah, it is subjective. It's super interesting.
Yeah.
So kind of going back to the first experience. What do you remember your first experience with the God Shot?
I've traveled a lot too, so I've had so many major coffee, monumental coffee experiences. I think in my early times, it wasn't even a shot of espresso, it was a pour over. So that coffee experience just blew my mind. I remember going back to the barista and being yo, did you add syrup to this? I did not ask for flavored coffee. This is kind of nuts. But then as I started understanding one specialty coffee, third wave coffee presentation on the experience around that, I remember going to Verve and getting a Panamanian geisha, and
they're one of the few companies that does that too.
Yeah. And experiencing that was a trip, man. I was what am I drinking? Why is there so many flavors in just black coffee? It was just unreal. It left me in this perplexed place where I was I'm unsure. And then actually to bring it back to a more recent time, I even in the last less than 2 years, I had an experience with a shot of espresso that left me super frustrated because I was I'm a barista, I'm a coffee professional. Why have I never made coffee this good? What's going on? And it was pulled by a US barista champion, so it makes kind of sense.
Yeah, they got the skill.
Yeah, they got the skill and the knowledge, but it left me in this place of thinking, still coffee can taste even better than I ever expected. So I've had a lot of those moments even recently with some of the coffees that I was telling you about, from Manhattan. Mm-hmm. I had a coffee from Diego Bermudez that the shot of espresso just confused me. It leaves you in so much awe that you're left with this what do I do with this like experience? Like,
it's pretty cool. I thought,
where do I rationalize? Where do I like categorize this? It's strange.
it's a beautiful headspace to be in, though. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like, you just what's happening? Yeah.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
exactly.
So, kind of going back to like your first experience, kind of whatever that did happen. Like, did that in any way change your journey or your path with like coffee in your career? Or
Hands down. I mean, I think the degree of like the awe and like the frustration, like the combo of those two experiences, or those feelings that I had during the experience, left me wanting for more. I feel like went on this like pursuit and this chase after the God shot. I was like, okay, when is my next experience going to be this good? And then it also, because I've been working in coffee, it also left me in a place of like this positive frustration where I was like, I want to replicate what I tasted. And I'm like, is it my barista skills? Is it the roaster? Is it just the equipment? Like what consists, how can I replicate this? Like, what is it? So I was left in both like inspiration, frustration, and this like all-encompassing awe of like, I want more. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's a feeling that I share, and not other people understand what that feeling is. So I'm really happy to hear that I'm not alone with that. It does force you to kind of kick up your game a little bit and learn as much as you can. And that's awesome. So what roasters or coffee shops do you think people could or would potentially find like their next God shot experience? Any things you have on your radar?
Totally. Yeah, I think that's a big part of it is like actual like coffee sourcing, and then roasting, and then I guess the barista is left with just the presentation of the God shot itself. So if sourcing good coffee and exceptional like green is, I mean, I don't want to toot my own horn. I do own a roasting. Yeah. So like there's been coffees that have been blown away that we've roasted, but on the radar of like what I've been experiencing in the last few months has been coffees from Manhattan. Diego Bermuda's anaerobic thermal shock coffee was absolutely nuts. One, it's one of the cleanest naturals I've experienced, and then their geishas are just absolutely complex. So anything that I would say that Diego Bermuda's produces, but then also Manhattan as a roasting company does a very good job roasting those coffees. And you can basically order their coffee online, but then practically like in-person experiences that I've had is, again, a company I work for, and there's a reason why I chose to work for them is because the way that they served their coffees and the actual like extraction, the barista's job was phenomenal. And that would be Narrative Coffee. So if you're up in the Pacific Northwest, in the Seattle area, 2 locations you should highly check out if you're looking for that God shot.
It's awesome. I'm really curious to swing by Mirror now, like to see what you guys have in-house. Because you told me you guys have like 12 something coffees available?
At Narrative, we have around 12. Yeah. Like there's a lot of coffees coming and going and rotating. So we have a lot to offer. We rotate our coffees daily, basically. So the barista gets that honor and privilege to be able to throw in a coffee that they really enjoy. So
that's pretty awesome as a barista to have that option, because a lot of people don't, and just to be able to share that experience with other people is really kind of cool.
For sure.
So I guess the last question would be, where can people find you if they want to get a hold of you, learn more about Mirror and yourself?
Yeah, so Instagram would be a primary way, and then our YouTube channel as well. But on Instagram, the Twitter handle is Mirror Coffee Roasters. And then on YouTube, same, Mirror Coffee Roasters. And then if you want to follow kind of my personal journey, I have a personal account, just my full name, that's Sergie Kutrovski. Cool. So, and I would say Instagram is primarily, and YouTube.
Awesome, cool. And you guys have a podcast that you guys regularly post with,
basically weekly. Yeah.
Cool, awesome. Well, again, thank you for your time and being here and kind of sharing your experience and your journey with us. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. And for anybody who is watching, I will make sure the information for both the locations that Sergie talked about and also his information for his personal stuff is on the description. So thanks again. You have a good rest of your day.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Bubba.
Okay,
appreciate it.
Bye.